Hi everybody, welcome to the community call, Gainforce community call. So we do this monthly, and I'm pretty sure some of you are new to this Gainforce community call basically, but essentially this is our monthly call where we talk about different things. So sometimes we do invite people from outside to give a talk about or sharing about a specific topic. So it could be usually it's very much tech related and also biodiversity or conservation related. But also we do invite our community partners to actually share their, it could be their work that they do on the ground. And in the case of today's session, it is they will share how they are actually Ecocert to, so Ecocert is basically an impact certificate that they use to actually package the impact that they have done. Right, so before we start, I just have a few house rules. So number one, please keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking. But feel free to raise your hand using the raise hand feature or send some emojis, anything. And feel free to turn your camera to say hi. It'd be lovely to actually see your face. And also, please get involved. You can ask questions, share the questions in the chat box. And I think this is also a good like once a month session where we can actually meet each other, and I believe some of you actually don't know each other. So if you feel like, hey, this project is so interesting or this person is so interesting, feel free to give them a shout or ask for their email or a WhatsApp or Telegram contact basically. And yeah, get involved. So before we start, just to gauge where are you joining us from today, feel free to write in the chat box. Where are you joining us from today? I am now in Malaysia. So it's 9 p.m. in Malaysia. So Frank from Taiwan. Hi, Frank. Anyone else want to share where they're tuning in from? Gabriel, Manaus. Peter in Kilifi. Nice, nice. Liz, Philippines. Taiwan, Philippines, Ukraine. Nice. Ooh. Cool. Okay. Keep it coming. Feel free to write in the chat box where you're joining us from today. And next, quick vibe check. I believe everybody is, different time zones, so people might be feeling now. So who are you? Which are you today? So we have a number here. I am a 2. So feel free to write in the chat box. It could be a mixture of, I don't know, 2 and 6. Yes, Frank is a 2, Justin 2, David a 1. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Right, a 2. Okay, a lot of people are a 2 today. Nice. Dennis is ready to sleep 8. Right. Okay, cool. Keep it coming. So that was our quick vibe check. Nice. So before we start, I'd just like to go through some updates from Gainforest. So first of all, we have our announcement, which is our very new blog post, which I wrote based on my work trip recently to Kilifi, Kenya. So I just like to mention and say thanks to Grassroots Economics, which is one of our community partners, for hosting me and also David in Kenya. So we had the chance to actually shadow them and their work, which is so amazing. I can send you this link and also a link regarding grassroots economics, because they are actually using this voucher system where people can actually do commitment pooling. So basically, if you have an expertise and if you need help, you can just mention it to your community and your community can actually help you. You can also help the other people. So it's like you are exchanging commitments or labor, which is a very cool initiative that you're doing. So I can share you the links later and you can read more. And so the whole idea of me being in Kenya was to find ideas and also inspiration, because right now we are trying to solidify this, concept, which is called the Forest Nature Guild. So just a little bit of background of what a nature guild will be. So we want to create this like platform where everyone in the Gainforest Community Partner Network we can actually self-govern ourselves. We can support each other and also access funds so that we can do the work that we're already doing on the ground. So there's an element of governance, solidarity, helping each other out, and also access to funds, especially the ones in the Web3 community, in the Web3 scene. Right. So if you have any feedback, or if you have any suggestions when it comes to this, which I believe some of you are already Web3 natives. So if you have any ideas and feedback, feel free to reach out to me so we can talk more about Nature Guild. Right. And second, which most of you might have already known, we actually hosted a Gitcoin grants round with HyperCert's foundation. So this was our very, very first time. Previously, we've always been one of the grantees, and for this round, GG23, Gitcoin Grants 23, we actually hosted HyperCerts for Nature Stewards, where we encourage the projects to actually create an Ecocert, and which is why we're here today too. So some of us, I think 4 of our community partners, will actually talk more about their Ecocert, right? And we received these matching funds from, which is 20K USD Globe by Hypercert Foundation, Gainforest, Sale of Public Goods, and also more. So we will learn more about Ecocert later during our talk. And our very third update, which is our Green Globe. So usually for people or community partners, new community partners especially, we onboard them into the Green Globe. So essentially the Green Globe is a globe where you can actually create your own profile, and then you can add data or visualize your data. So it could be your orthomosic data from your drone imagery, for example, or it could be your tree data. It could also be your audio data. So different community partners use it different way, but a lot of them are using Green Globe to visualize their data so they can use it for something else, like if they want to report their work, or if they want to apply for grants or apply for funding. So it is now undergoing some exciting upgrades. So I will let you know, especially for the new communities. I would love to onboard you next month. So it could be end of May or early June. So I will let you know regarding this. Right. So now we're gonna go to our talk session. But before that, I'd just like to mention a little bit for those who are still not familiar with what an Ecocert is. So probably you missed some of our community calls previously, but Ecocert is basically an environmental hypercert. So a hypercert is basically like a impact certificate, a digital impact certificate to show that you have done work or something, like a project. It could be X number of trees, for example, or it could be a workshop that you have done, right? So, okay. And we do this by integrating HyperCert protocol, which is already exists by HyperCert Foundation. So we integrate that and we create this marketplace where people can create their Ecocert, and at the same time supporters can actually buy portions of them. So it's a little bit different from donation, because for donation you haven't done the work yet. People donate to you and then you'll be able to do your work. But this is a little bit like reverse, where you do the work first and then you can package it as an impact certificate. Then people can start buying some portions of it, and you can do your next impact. So it works that way. So I think with Ecocert as well, when it comes to nature stewards, us people who are doing things on the ground, conservation work, I think it's also a form of impact reporting, which is being made easy, because I understand that a lot of us are, traditionally we would do a long report, include pictures, include all this data, right? But with Ecocert, it's like a one-page thing that you can package, and you can give it to people or even your funders. And because it has also a lot of information, so you can write your description, and then you can also mention, and you actually need to mention or include your location. And then you need to also mention the time where the impact when the impact was done, and also you need to add proof of impact. So this is the new feature where you can actually add like a lot of like any kind of proof that is related to the impact that you're trying to report. So it could be photos, it could be like tree data that you have visualized somewhere. So I guess the more you add or the more people can see your proof, the more they would feel confident and they would want to buy some portions of your ecosystem. Right? So it's like everything, all proof in one place, in one digital certificate. Right. So before we go to the speakers, I'm just going to do a quick demo for those who haven't tried or seen it. Right. So this is how ecocertain.xyz looks like. So you will need to have like a Web3 wallet first of all. So once you have that wallet, you will connect it. So like right now, I'm already connected. It's on the Celo network. So you can see these are the certificates that have been created for the past 2-3 months. So if you want to create your own, you can click here, submit. So I've created like a dummy one here, and let me show you the step. Right. So this is just a dummy Ecocert, but essentially you will need like a name that is that describes your impact, but it shouldn't be too long because if not, it will not show up here. So as you can see here on the right side is where you can see how your ecosystem would look like. So for example, I'm just gonna put here, right? So you can also add your image. So in this case, I've taken a random image as my logo, and then same with the banner image. And I've also included a description, and then I will need to include a link to my website. And then I can include also what is it on? Is it a restoration? Is it conservation? Is it a landscape work or community, very heavy on community, or is it a science project, for example, right? And I can also add some like keywords that describe this impact. So for example, I put biodiversity. So as you can see, biodiversity appeared here. And then, for example, I want to also add education. So you need to put comma and then write the new keyword. So it shouldn't be too long. It should be something like tags and keywords that describe your ecosystem. And it's also very important to choose a date since you are reporting something from the past, right? So it needs to be something, the date should be in the past. It shouldn't be like today. So, and you can also list some of your contributors, which I also understand. You might not do it yourself. You collaborated with the communities or you collaborated with local NGOs, for example. So you can add the name of the organization or the name of the people or even their wallet address. It could be anything. Really. And another important thing is a GeoJSON file. So you have to map your area where you did the impact at, and you need to upload it here. So here I've done like a random location which have a site boundary, and then put my Telegram or email, and then click on this and then click submit. So this is how it would look like. Let's trying to mint. Let's see. Not sure how long it will take. But essentially, if you want to see all of your let's confirm. Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is done, and it's minted. So if I want to see all my hypercerts that I've created, I can just click view my hypercert. So it will bring me to this page where I can see the different hypercerts that I've created. Right. Okay. I think that was a quick demo on how to create an Ecocert on the Ecocert platform. So if you're new to this Ecocert, please reach out to me. We can talk more about how we can package your impact into a Ecocert. Cool. I will no longer speak. I will give it to our four amazing speakers that will talk more about their specific Ecocert. So I think we can start with Frank. To you, Frank.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Frank. So I'm from Taiwan, and I have joined the Ecocert, the GAN Forest and Gitcoin 2023 round this time, and I'm represented of the Green Sofa, the the group in Taiwan, and I have some slides to share with you more about the projects we have done. Okay, so although we have talked about ourselves is a green sofa, and I will demonstrate the structure of or our DAOs, but this is kind of two groups collaborations about this project. Is one is from FEPDAO and the other is from the HEEP, HEEP. It was a river revitalization non-government organization in Taiwan, and it's mainly focused about the education part and the river dredging to help governance to decide whether it should or should not to dredge the river not so frequently. So I'm Frank. I'm mostly a contributor and researcher of DAO in Taiwan, and I'm contributing in FabDAO. And one is called in this DAO sub organization is called Green Sofa. It's kind of like a diplomacy in FabDAO because most of our participants is mainly speaking in Mandarin. So if there's a need for the global connections, we will mostly via the Green Sofa. There's about 5 people around them. So the projects I'm presenting today is about the Digit Creek NFT. So this is FabDAO, although it's written in English, in Chinese, but we can shorten into this group. We kind of like to help the founder to meet the collector about the art projects, and we kind of want to bridge the artist into with some activism, which is mostly about different public goods. Public goods can mean the open source projects, or it can be the like the environmental projects, which is really important in this, especially in this round. And other projects, it can be some cultural or the different groups as they need. So it's kind of like the collaboration between artists and activism. And FabDAO is kind of to let these people meet, and we try to figure out, is there a better way to let the artists and activism could get more funding or to make their impact to be more noticeable in on-chain and even in the Web3 world. So this is kind of like a core diagram about what's FabDAO, or there's a lot of DAOs doing the similar things. So FabDAO is started with a project percentage. It is collaborate from the 6 Taiwanese generative art group, which is using the code to demonstrate the mountain in Taiwan. And there are 6 famous Taiwanese artists, and which fund some money, and then FabDAO used this money to become a truly DAO, like to progressive decentralize into 3 groups. So I will scan through the pictures of the project's percentage. You can see this is all by coded, and to try to demonstrate the beauty of mountain in Taiwan. And then we use this use this artwork to go some exhibition around the world, including the lens electron, and after we collecting this money and after distributing to the artists, there's some uh, money mainly focus up about how do we fund more projects like this to demonstrate the beauty of Taiwan or the importance of different uh, topics such as education, environmental, or cultural. So we use this money and try to use get the collectors to know what is DAO and how do we use the Web3 tools to encourage people to get into this field. And this is kind of like how we are doing our progressive decentralization part, and we mainly trying to figure out how DAO should work, especially in Taiwan or especially in the different impact field. So we finally summarize into some like the improvement proposal to get into our structure. And this is our structure for now. So there's still some centralist part in FabDAO, which we give a small nickname is kitchen. And aside from the kitchen, the apartment is mostly the DAO's decentralized structure. And the DAO part, we have three groups. One is art banks, which collect NFT, which is especially the NFT have promote some public good or have some good around them. And art banks groups try to use the collector as a collector DAO to demonstrate their on-chain reputation of FabDAO. And the second part is the activism living room, which mostly generate NFT by collaborated with local non-government projects organization. And like DigiCreek, this projects I'll introduce later is one of the activism living room projects. And third is hypercert labs, because actually hypercert has been discussed in Taiwan for almost a year, and it's mainly FabDAO has been one of them, which try to understand what hypercert wants to achieve, and we do some experiment and we try to educate other DAO or other local teams about what hypercert wants to achieve. And the last is the Green Sofa Taiwan. It's kind of like a diplomacy in FabDAO. So this is the projects I'll introduce late. This time is called DigiCreek, or in Gainforest or in Ecocert, we call them Riverside by Takomachi. So this is the group. This is mostly our DAO members, which in the first time we go to the organization by walking around this river and to know that what they are trying to achieve or what they are trying to fight with the governments about how this river should be treated or should be governance. And this the right one is called white belly chicken, which is which is the animal they want to restoration about to restore their habitat to don't let the government to dredge in their habitat. And this is the main character we try to capture in our NFT projects. So we try to use the animation to use the Takomachi. This is a previous or we call it electric pet, which we can feed them or we can give them some grass and they will become healthier or become much mature, and they will have their baby. And we also capture with in the different stage about the different English name about these projects, because this project is mainly focused on education and the target is elementary school students. And we not only want to let them know about the environmental issue, but we also want to demonstrate that you can participate this projects and also like kind of learning English at the same time. So DigiCreek is a series of projects, and the Takomachi is one part of them. So if you finish a serial task, you will finally get the Takomachi as a gift in a NFT forms. But during this process, you have the student, they have to not only walk around the river, but also they have to go back to their home, talk to their family about the projects we're doing, and also you have to uh, walk in the virtual river town, which is built in the gather town. So this is, though we have demonstrated in the NFT form, but it actually is a, a more broaden concepts about you can use technology to encourage people to engage in uh, environmental education. So this is the final. We kind of like we're final participation in the school event. You can see it mostly in elementary school, and in the left there's our DAO and the HEAP organization members. So there are seven tasks in this field, and the final one is I will show you is the gift I talk about. So it's kind of like we have, although have the lecture in the stadium, we talk about what's the river, and it's actually just aside from their elementary school zone, not just need to walk about almost 1 minute, less than 1 minute, and they can reach the river zone about this creek, which is called the Huangxi, the southern creek in Taiwan. And we have some banner about how we think about uh, the concept about river. It is not really apart from our living area. We can be a lot friendly about the river and the city and the residents between them. So we kind of like to let the children to know that it is really close for us in Taipei is a city, but the distance about the river and the city is really close, and the overlap is everywhere. So this is kind of like the pictures of the school event, and this is the Takomachi is in an NFT form, and we try to. I'll demonstrate in another slide. It's interactive, and it is the color is assembled with the their uniform. So it kind of like a special Easter egg that we want the children to get more familiar with this kind of new tech. And we also have some uh, paper to let them know like how this NFT work and what concept behind an NFT is about, and what the HEAP, the River Restoration Group, is trying to achieve in more text way. So this is the whole text. This paper is especially for the parents, because uh, in Taiwan, I think not only in Taiwan, I think when we are doing this NFT projects is in the time that when NFT is really connect with bad names. So we try to use this kind of we didn't want to uh, hack your money or what. We just want to use NFT to anonymously to get your wallet address, and we distribute it to your wallet address, and you kind of own the 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 result. You finish the task, or after you doing the group deed, you can collect it with your wallet. And we try to use mostly in a Web3 chains, which is called Tezos, and we use a wallet called Krukai. It can generate the wallet address by Gmail, so it's really convenient for students. So we have looked a lot of different resource and look a lot of different technique, and I think we found a most in convenient way for children and for their parents to understand. So this is the second color of the Takomachi's, the Game Boy. The color is similar with what we have the other NFT projects. Although you may not finish all projects, but if you finish one of them, you will get the left one, which is called the river. It's kind of like a proof of concept, proof of ownership. If if you own these badges, you kind of like you are the river, you are the residents around this river. We want to use this proof of concept as a proof of attendance, like you are part of this river. So the last of this is kind of like the early research about these projects, and I will show you the final. There's a online exhibition room for this about the whole projects, and I will share in the slides and as a reference for all of you, and we can jump into the Takomachi pod, and I will share you some interesting part.
Frank is going to give you 1 extra minute.
Okay, sorry for.
No problem.
Let me check. Okay, so this is the NFT projects we build, and it is mostly, it's kind of like we didn't want to make money, so it's kind of like we just distribute it into their wallet without they have to buy it, and you can interact with I'm not sure if there's any sound. You can press the button and they'll have some,
Yes, I can hear the sound.
and there you can add some grass for their habitats, and they will become happier. And if they rest in the grass zone, they will have become larger, and they will they will breed their child, and you can play around with their child, and they will move together. So it's just this kind of a small concept about this project. So I will introduce about this about around here. So thank you, everyone. I'm Frank. Okay.
Thank you so much, Frank. That is so interesting, and I feel like a lot of people here are actually also doing environmental education. So this is like some inspiration that we can learn. So if you are interested to talk more with Frank, I think maybe Frank can leave your email maybe in the group, so anyone who are interested can
Sure.
talk to him.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Frank. I think we can move to the next person. I'm going to invite Liz from WOVOKA in the Philippines. To you, Liz.
Hi, hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Fatin. Let me just share my screen. There. Okay. So hi, everyone. We recently got onboarded with Gainforest, and our Ecocert focuses on our science-based assessment of mangrove restoration potential in Kapalonga. So what I'll share with you today is our Ecocert, who we are and our partner, what we conducted, our suitability assessment, and our next steps, which we entitled 1 hectare to inspire 1,000 more. So here's a glimpse. Our Ecocert shares about our partnership with Kapalonga Mangrove Development Association, which is Kamada, and we aim to restore degraded fish ponds in Kapalonga, Camarines Norte in the Philippines with mangroves this June. And before this project, we conducted a feasibility assessment to ensure ecological suitability and community readiness for these projects. We measured diameter at breast height of the trees, a canopy height, cover, community structure, water levels, community engagement, and we also engage with the community to take geotag photos of the mangroves in the area using their smartphones to support data collection in our assessment. We also conducted, we looked up the abandoned and active fish ponds in Google Earth Engine, and later we validated these on the ground. And so our Ecocert aims to help scale this science-backed, community-driven approach to safeguard coast and strengthen the resilience of communities in Camarines Norte, who which faces frequent typhoons and vulnerable to storm surges. So a brief background on us. WOVOKA is a climate tech company, and we develop high integrity terrestrial and blue carbon projects with IP groups and local communities in the Philippines. And majority of our team are scientists. So even I'm an environmental scientist, and we are scientists still in our core, even in developing our project with education and training from different institutions across the world. Our partner on the ground is Kapalonga Mangrove Development Association, Inc., or Kamada, and their organization caters to 40,000 community members, and they cover 7 barangays or little towns, and their residents benefit from ecosystem services such as protected coastlines, habitat for marine life, mitigation of climate change impacts, and livelihood resources such as seafood and nipa production. So they've been doing this for the past 25 years, and we worked together with Kamada since 2023, initially for a large-scale carbon project, given their forest management area in the region. And so we partner with them to help address the following issues, such as mangrove forests disappearing at an alarming rate, coastal communities losing natural protection from against storms and erosion, declining fish stocks and biodiversity due to habitat loss, and of course the high carbon emissions from these degraded wetlands. And this has been with our partnership with them since 2023. We've conducted multiple activities, and this shows a glimpse of that. So we identified our sites through GIS, remote sensing, and we delineate these for active fish ponds, non-active, degraded, and we conduct historical analysis. So how these mangrove areas, how have these grown, or how did these develop since 2012, or available data. And then we select suitable areas that we think from that point of view can be restored. And once we select these suitable areas, we go on the ground and visit the site themselves, coordinating with government units, active NGOs, and people organizations such as Kamada. And we ground truth the data, and we assess the sites, and we estimate the total suitable area depending on the data we've gathered. And this is a glimpse of what we've been doing on the ground. So we met with Kamada, the organization, and we coordinate with the local entities that support the environmental natural resources. We've trained with them, and we've also visited their own sites. So you can see here our team on the ground assessing, collecting data of the mangroves, planted and naturally growing mangroves in the area. So this is a glimpse of what we've been doing on the ground in our development work.
It's crazy.
And so this is the result of our science-backed assessment. 39 hectares of abandoned fish ponds were identified suitable for mangrove replanting. And although there was initially interest in seaward expansion sites, unfortunately, this was determined to be unfeasible due to rocky shores, tidal shifts, and river changes that made us focus on abandoned and inactive fish ponds as the best path forward, given that these will have a much, much higher survival rate. And we also identified 16 mangrove species in the old growth mangrove patches, with 50% intact old growth mangroves and 30% active fish ponds. We also identified our next steps, which is assessing the current lease agreements in the area, in-depth hydrological assessments, and baseline assessment, which is carbon stock, social and biodiversity, and hydrology assessment. This next step is encapsulated in our 1 hectare to inspire 1,000 more project, This was born out of our commitment to address the environmental issues in Kapalonga, given the two things that right now small-scale restoration projects aren't attractive to carbon financiers. And also, second, there's a lack of data on fish pond restored mangroves growth rate necessary for carbon sequestration models. So, given our partnership with Kamada for the past more than a year, we wanted to do five things: restore the abandoned fish ponds that were identified through active planting or passive restoration, collect the growth and sequestration rate to inform future carbon and restoration projects in the area. Third is to conduct capacity building training for locals and conduct community-based monitoring. Fourth is to enhance biodiversity and carbon sequestration. And fifth is to introduce global carbon certification movements to the local communities. And our vision for this is our goal is to have the community be at the forefront of our project monitoring and data collection now that we conducted the assessment. And this includes remote sensing and GIS analysis, bioacoustic sensors in the project site, visual sensors through bird feeder with built-in solar-powered camera, and the community members themselves trained in collecting samples and getting tree heights for biomass growth assessment. And our wish list also includes environmental DNA or eDNA
How many
for data collection. And so this is our next step after we conducted our feasibility assessment. And we wanted to give thanks to Gain Forest for the opportunity to create this impact together. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us, WOVOKA on LinkedIn, or our president, WOVOKA Philippines, tin@wovoka.io. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Liz. That was amazing, and I believe actually some people here are actually doing something similar in different countries too. So, if you have any questions, feedback, feel free. Maybe Liz, you can leave your email or WOVOKA's website somewhere in the chat box. Yeah. Right. Cool. Thank you so much. Next, we will move to the next speaker. I would like to invite Peter from Project Mocha to go next. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Cool. To you, Peter.
GM, everyone. Send my screen. Thumbs up. Okay. So my name is Peter. I'm co-founder at a startup called Project Mocha that is based in Kenya, and our startup is aiming to unlock finance for smallholder coffee farmers. Now, on a macro level, especially in Kenya, our coffee production has decreased by around 30% in the last 3 decades because of many systemic issues, poor government policies, a lot of middlemen. So ideally, money is not going back into the farms. And coffee consumption on one side is growing, but coffee production is decreasing. And smaller farmers, if they want to access financing for this, it's becoming very stringent, very expensive. And we aim to unlock this using blockchain technology. The image here is of the first farmer we're working with, a lady called Susan. Her coffee farm is in Embu, and she also happens to be my co-founder's mom. Now, for farmers here in Kenya to access financing, they'll go to a bank, traditional finance, microfinance institution, and every single one of these will either ask for like a pay slip or demand that these farmers use the land as collateral for whatever financing they get in. And this is becoming very stringent, and the amount of capital they get is very limited. Like the bank would come to their farm, specifically, like let me give an example in the exact context of Susan's farm. They came to our farm did the assessment, looked at the land. They saw she had coffee trees. She has a bit of avocado trees. She plants a bit of kales here and there. But the bank ideally classified this land as unproductive land since there doesn't anything be developed on it. If she had built like a hotel or cafe, be valued differently. Why and what is different is if Susan was more organized, let's say she was a coffee estate and this assessment happened, the auditor would count each coffee tree as assets. The accounting standards recognize these trees as biological assets, and that is what we're aiming to do for smaller farmers. We are recognizing their trees as assets, and using tokenization, we're able to create financial instruments around this so farmers can get financing for it at a global stage. Our story with Gitcoin or Gainforest started about a month ago when I met David and Nura at a conference happening here in Nairobi, Kenya. And once we mentioned that what we were doing is they were very interested in helping us create this story. Because for smaller farmers, what we are helping them solve is that they're trusted and they're verified at the global stage. And trusted verification means that these coffee trees exist, they exist in a certain location, and they belong to Susan. So that is the legality. Susan is the one who owns the farm, and this farm she sits about 2,000, just under 3,000 coffee trees. So we have geotagged these coffee trees, and we actually have in the chain because thankfully for the Gainforest platform, we're able to quickly do this. We actually did this within 9 days before the Gitcoin grant ended. So we're just doing it very fast, just to at least have something up and running. And we love it that now we are able to visualize where these coffee trees are sitting. And because of this, we're able to, at least from the community, we're able to at least get guys donating what about just over $100 donated at this. And how we see this Ecocert helping us, because we just onboarded, this is the first time we're doing this, and this coffee tree is an asset. We actually have coffee, like these coffee beans are from the farm, and these coffee trees are assets. And for the smaller farmers, these assets represent value. And what other layers of value can you bring on top of what this farm already has? So they have the land, which everyone has, but if they're farming, it's not recognized by traditional finance. Then we bring in the tokenization aspect with industries and assets. What more can we add onto this thing so that the farmer actually can get more value for the resources that they have? And how we are doing that is there's two levels, pros and cons. One, the pros is the biodiversity recognition. So Ecocert verifies that farmers have a biodiversity, they're contributing to enhancing the environment, and this can be recognized. This can be digitized and this can be recognized. There are multiple impact credits. So depending on the activities that this farmer is doing on the farm, they're able to add several layers of credits they can have. And now that you're dealing with coffee, and a lot of coffee consumers are becoming very conscious, they're pushing for where is this coffee coming from, what are the conditions of this farm, the conditions around this farm, how this coffee is being sourced. Now, with the farmer adding another layer of impact certification, they're able to get better prices for their coffee. On one side, the impact certifications. Some certifications are very expensive, but with tokenizing these assets, we're able to bring more liquidity. Someone knows a bit of cash and actually deploy to the farm. So it becomes, if the farmer is able to access costly certification, costly compliance products. How we are looking at introducing this impact or introducing impact visibility is we've actually done late last year. We did our first EDA analysis on the farm. Very fast. So we're actually waiting for the report of this, just a baseline study of where this farm is at. And once we start doing like shade trees, we incorporate a few more trees because shade trees can increase the biodiversity of the farm by 40%. I'm starting moving the farm from synthetic fertilizers to more organic fertilizers. Introduce natural pest management and like outcomes of the soils of the increase in soil. And given the opportunity to get a big certification, this can actually increase the value of this farm, the value that this farmer can get from even investors, and the long-term sustainability. Why are we doing this? Now, as I mentioned in the slide up, Kenya's production will increase by 70%. That is at a macro level. But at a farm level, this means that an average coffee farmer is getting between 0.2 kgs to 3 kgs of yield per coffee tree per year, against a potential of, we've seen guys with coffee estates carrying north of 15 kgs per tree per year. So by bringing in liquidity into this farm, you're able to 5x. If you can get to even just 10, from 2 kgs to 10 kgs, you've increased this farm productivity by 10, by 5x. Imagine the impact it will have on this farmer in terms of, because farming is coffee is very labor intensive. This labor is labor around the community. So you've increased first the income of the farmer, his household, and the people around him who work this farm. This is part of my team that you're working with. I myself have been in the agri-tech space for the last 10 years. My co-founder Paul, we're actually using his farm to start this demonstration and actually prove that this can be done. This is just another different geotag of the farm. This is an exercise we did last year in geotag each and every single coffee tree that we're bringing on chain. So this year we're doing our pilot. So on this Sadidian farm, we are creating a platform where coffee consumers, if you're interested in coffee consumer, if you're a coffee consumer and actually care where coffee is coming from, you can become a coffee investor. So in this platform, we will be adding all these different layers. So now we have the farmer, Susan. This is a farm on a farm, 60 trees that have been geotagged. Now, because of the help through David in Gain Forest, we can now have another layer of impact. What is being done on this farm that can actually increase the biodiversity of it. So if you scan the QR code, you can actually join a wait list. This is a very, very high level because we just started and we're very, very excited about the potential of, first of all, capturing this data that is, I would say in Africa, there's a huge data gap. Whereas a lot of this data is not captured. So we're capturing this data and package it in a way that it can be monetized to the benefit of the smallholder farmers and the smallholder communities. And here's my email address if you want to reach out. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to sharing a lot more as the months progress.
Thank you so much, Peter. This is a really interesting concept, and I was just like looking at how neat you have geotagged every tree. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone, if you're interested to connect with Peter, feel free to maybe Peter can drop your email in the chat box too. Cool. Next, we will go to our very last presentation. And I'm just going to invite Rahma from Green Ambassadors Club. Are you here, Rahma? Is Rahma here? Yes, Rahma is here. Cool. To you, Rahma, yes.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, so my name is Namale Rema. I work with Green Ambassadors Club. So I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Nice.
So I'm going to talk about my Ecocert project with Gain Forest. It's called Kimi Restoration Campaign at Kimi Island. So this island, why we specifically chose this island, because most people doing environmental work usually forget about islands. So that's why we decided to put our main focus here. This island was, you know how most people there are residing in houses built of wood and all that. They had a fire in 2017. So we decided to try and restore this island so that it could become a model island and something that shows the environment can be restored in particular ways. So I hope you can all see, these are some of the pictures that we got after the island was burnt. I don't know if you can see them.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, so that is how Kimi Island was when it got burnt in 2017. So that is why we decided to put our focus there. I'll go back to my Ecocert. So we've tried to do a couple of engagements with them. We usually do health camps. We usually have health camps and then train youths in various skills. For example, we train these youths how to use plastics. They can make dustbins made of bottles, make doormats made of bottle tops, and things of a sort. Then the other things we do is train. We usually look at youths, single mothers, and people with disabilities. We've had various trainings in soap, making making crafts. What we are aiming at is these people can get employment, and other activities we are doing, the ones of reusing plastics, is to conserve the environment, and we're enabling them. We usually take for them seedlings to enable them to restore this island, because everything was burnt down, including of the very few trees they had. And we're encouraging them to mainly have fruit trees, because when you have a fruit tree, you can take good care of it, because at the end of the day you're going to have fruits that you want to have. I think that's it.
Right. Thank you so much, Rahma. I think these are great projects that we can learn, because I feel like a lot of us are doing things separately. So this like kind of gathering allow us to actually see what other people are doing on the ground. So this is super, super interesting. So I'm just going to open like maybe 2 or 3 minutes if people have any questions to any of our speakers today. If you do have a question, feel free to unmute yourself or write the question in the chat box. Anything? Okay. Nothing. 3, 2. Yes. Pak Yuda from Indonesia.
Sorry, so yeah, good morning and good night. I want to ask with the Miss Sarah from the Philippines, yeah, about the restoration of the mangrove. How many percent life of the seedling when you planting for the one season? That's right. I want to compare what we do in Indonesian is really small, yeah, because the uh, yeah, the challenge is really happy. Yeah, it's really strong by the erosion of the on the sea. I think it's really very interesting. We can share to how to information to how to the adaptation of system restoration in the mangrove. They compare in Indonesia and in the Philippines. I think. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Liz, do you wanna answer that?
Yeah, I think for background, our project partnership started in 2023. It's 2025. And a big reason for that is actually the same problem of there's erosion, there's difficulties with the survival rate if it's seaward facing, right? So what we did was we conducted interviews and we assessed the sites, and we essentially picked target sites that represented majority of the area. Since originally, I think the through remote sensing GIS, we found 2,000 hectares, but that doesn't take into account the community structures that exist on those, because a lot of the area that were previously mangroves got turned into fish ponds. So these areas, and with the fish ponds, some of them have been abandoned, some have just been degraded. And so when we conducted our assessment, we interviewed first, of course, the people organization who have 25 years experience in doing this. And we found that the seaward facing fronts, if they're lucky, 40 to 50% survive. So that's if they're lucky. And unfortunately, since this was around 25 years ago, the species that were planted is monospecies. So, and these species, Rhizoptera, wasn't fit as a seafront species. So that explains why there's such a low survival rate, but also it explains why there's a struggle now on creating a more biodiverse mangrove systems in the area, because these are the ones that existed with those efforts 25 years ago. And so, given that we shifted our focus towards fish pond areas that have been abandoned for the past 5 to 10 years, because these have, if you're unlucky, it's 80% survival rate. So that's this is because you can assess it with the current status of the soil. Is it the salinity? Is there a difference with the hydrology of the area? So this allows us a more controlled environment with the hydrology and also the nutrients available for the mangroves. And that's why it took this long to assess, because if we conduct these, a lot of mangrove reforestation efforts focus on planting, but really we also really want to look at the survival rate and how it affects the community. And that's why it took us this long, and why we're really making sure we assess these areas in scientifically, but also community-wise also. So yeah, it's really difficult, right, for the survival rate, but to understand what has worked and what hasn't worked in the previous projects allows us a direction on creating a scalable reforestation project, especially with these unique sites with their own unique history in the area. So I hope that answers the question. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's interesting. Maybe I will try to make the contact you in the email, and then we can share for the sometime what kind we can share together in the same section in the restoration. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. I think that's it for this community call. I think this has been great, and I realized that this is like a good mixture of people who are already in the Web3, and also people who are still learning and want to learn more about Web3. So thank you so much for sharing. I think we can bring these conversations more in the chat group. So feel free to ask more questions. If you would like to ask, hey, who are working on this particular thing? Can we have a quick call? You can also do that. So again, thank you so much. I will see you next month. Feel free to book a time slot to chat with me one-to-one. But again, thank you so much. Have a good day, good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.